Robert Dylan, born Robert Allen Zimmerman, May 24, 1941, is an American singer-songwriter. Often regarded as one of the greatest songwriters of all time, Dylan has been a major figure in popular culture during a career spanning more than 60 years. Much of his most celebrated work dates from the 1960s, when songs such as Blowin' in the Wind, 1963, and The Times, They Are A-Changin, 1964, became anthems for the civil rights and anti-war movements. His lyrics during this period incorporated a range of political, social, philosophical, and literary influences, defying pop music conventions and appealing to the burgeoning counterculture. Following his self-titled debut album in 1962, which comprised mainly traditional folk songs, Dylan made his breakthrough as a songwriter with the release of the Freewheelin' Bob Dylan the following year. The album features Blowin' in the Wind and the thematically complex A Hard Rain's A Gonna Fall. Many of his songs adapted the tunes and phraseology of older folk songs. He went on to release the politically charged The Times, They Are A-Changin, and the more lyrically abstract and introspective Another Side of Bob Dylan in 1964. In 1965 and 1966, Dylan drew controversy among folk purists when he adopted electrically amplified rock instrumentation, and in the space of 15 months recorded three of the most important and influential rock albums of the 1960s, Bringing It All Back Home, Highway 61 Revisited, both 1965, and Blonde on Blonde, 1966. His 6-minute single Like a Rolling Stone, 1965, expanded commercial and creative boundaries in popular music. In July 1966, a motorcycle accident led to Dylan's withdrawal from touring. During this period, he recorded a large body of songs with members of the band, who had previously backed him on tour. These recordings were released as the collaborative album The Basement Tapes in 1975. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, Dylan explored country music and rural themes in John Wesley Harding, 1967, Nashville Skyline, 1969, and New Morning, 1970. In 1975, he released Blood on the Tracks, which many saw as a return to form. In the late 1970s, he became a born-again Christian and released a series of albums of contemporary gospel music before returning to his more familiar rock-based idiom in the early 1980s. Dylan's 1997 album Time Out of Mind marked the beginning of a renaissance for his career. He has released 5 critically acclaimed albums of original material since then, the most recent being Rough and Rowdy Ways, 2020. He also recorded a series of 3 albums in the 2010s comprising versions of traditional American standards, especially songs recorded by Frank Sinatra. Dylan has toured continuously since the late 1980s on what has become known as the Never Ending Tour.